Hi everybody, Joe Nobert here, just doing my part to get a little Shake of Joe in every mouth across America. Today, I'm doing a Kansas City classic, the beef brisket. What I've got here is about a 9-pound brisket, nice, good, thin, even, flat, crossed. Now you can see the point coming here. First thing I'm going to do to prep this thing, lather it with my trusty mustard and dust it with Joe's. At that point, you can either throw it on the smoker or wrap it in foil and let it set overnight. By the way, first thing I want to do is put a good base coat across it with some mustard. That's going to allow that rub to stay in there and work it into the meat. And you don't have to put too much on there, just enough to be generous. Don't be afraid of it. You are going to eat it, you might as well get your hands on it. A little bit more mustard here. And I'm going to rub it in there. What this is doing is it's actually creating a nice paste for the seasoning and for your rub, for your bottle of Joe's there. And that's actually going to help it stick to the meat a little bit and work its way in there as well. Okay, I got my mustard on. Now the only thing left to do is coat it heavy and thick. Don't be scared. It is a rub. The whole point is to put it on a nice thin layer. I generally go from top to bottom, a little bit side to side. I make sure every portion is completely covered with a nice layer of my celestial seasoning. Work it in a little bit, get it into the meat. Oh, wonderful. So that way when I flip it and put it into the fat cap, I don't lose it all. It's looking good already. Yeah, a little bit over here. There we go. Now, if you're just going to put the rub on and plan on throwing it on the smoker, I'd at least let it set up for about an hour. Now, this is a beef brisket. It is 9 pounds. And anytime you're going to do beef, you better figure on at least an hour and a half a pound. Now I'm going to smoke mine at probably 225 is a good temp. Work that in. And it looks like I need a little bit more on there. I'm going to go ahead and get out another empty bottle of Joe's here. Okay. Now, I don't want to throw mine on the smoker right away, so I'm going to put it on wrap it up in some heavy duty aluminum foil. First, let it sit overnight, at least for a few hours. Let that seasoning kind of work its way and do its magic. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit more on here. Nice. Okay. Well, she's ready. I'm not going to do too much more to it other than basically wait on it. I'm going to wrap it up in this foil. And I'm going to work the seasoning in using the foil. And I'll probably let this sit, overnight. Then I'll get my smoker started and get it on there. I'm going to smoke this at a 225 degree temperature. And I'm not going to get crazy with it. I'm going to let it sit You just smoke low and low, slow and low all day. But on this particular brisket, with it being 9 pounds, I can probably figure on at least 14 to 15 hours on the smoker. I want to pull mine probably at an internal temperature of about 185. What that'll do is allow me to cut that brisket against the grain into nice thick slices, but still it'll be tender enough to pull apart. I personally don't like my brisket pulled. I want to be able to slice it. But other than that, it's ready to go, and I'll see you when I get ready to throw it on the smoker. Alright, we're now beginning day 2 of the brisket. I've just unwrapped it. The rub is sat in with the mustard bottom layer. It's been sitting up for between 6 and 8 hours. What I'm going to do, this next step is optional. I'm going to actually inject it with Dr. Pepper. I've heard numerous different types of marinades, marinated in Coke, beer, Dr. Pepper. You can do the dry rub and let it set overnight. What I like to do is kind of do a combination of the both. Let the dry rub set in, so that way it's going to get a nice good flavor with the joes around the outside. And then I like to inject it as well, so that way it adds a little moisture to the meat. Got a standard bead injector. I put my Dr. Pepper in a glass. I'm simply just going to get it full and inject in various places in the brisket. And I'm just going to continue to do this until I can't get any more in there, basically. Inject it in a few spots. I'm going to fill it up. And that's it. I'm going to continue to do that until it's really starting to seep out the sides, and then I'm going to throw it on the smoker. Hello everybody. Hey, the brisket's been on now. Been smoking for about an hour and 15 minutes a pound. I just checked the internal temperature. We were at 185, 187 in all the different areas of the brisket. So that's good in my book. What I like to do is go ahead and pull it off. You definitely want to let the brisket set for at least an hour before you cut into it. If you cut into it right now, all the juices are just going to spill everywhere. They're not going to actually remain in the meat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up in aluminum foil. I'm going to put it into the crutch. What the crutch is basically a cooler with towels in it. That helps keep it keeps it insulated. So right now, other than that, you're pretty much done. There's other methods to the brisket that you can do. You can also smoke it for about 4 or 5 hours and then wrap it in aluminum foil. The idea is that the brisket won't absorb any more smoke after 5 hours. I guess it's just a personal thing. I personally like smoking the entire time. So, like I said, I'm going to wrap this thing completely up in aluminum foil, making it tight. And that's going to keep the juices in there. And then I'm going to put that in the crutch and I'm going to let it set for probably a couple hours. And then it'll be ready to eat. When you slice this, you want to cut it against the grain. That's going to ensure the most tender portion of the meat for you. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do.